Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who Big Finish review. In today's Doctor Who Big Finish review we'll be taking a look at Out of Time 2, the Gates of Hell, seeing the 5th Doctor and the 10th Doctor battle for Cybermen. Now I have reviewed the first Out of Time with the 10th Doctor and 4th Doctor. I'll leave a little card thing there and a link in the description below to that review so you can check out my thoughts on the first instalment of the Out of Time series. Now I don't have the CD for this release because I'm recording it on the day of release and I just want to get this review out as quickly as possible. So when I do a collection update I'll show the CD within that. So without further ado, let's just dive straight into the review of Out of Time 2, The Gates of Hell. So after last summer's blockbuster audio of Out of Time seeing the 4th Doctor meet the 10th Doctor, it's time again for the 10th Doctor to encounter an incarnation well known to him in more ways than one, the 5th Doctor, seeing them team up and face the Steel Giants of Cybermen, written by David Llewellyn, who has done an excellent work for Big Finish, writing an excellent 5th Doctor story called Tartarus. Now the 5th Doctor being one of David Llewellyn's favourite Doctors, you can definitely see his love for the 5th Doctor shine throughout this story. Now we've seen the 10th Doctor and 5th Doctor meet in Time Crash, which this story does pay a nice little callback to. So does lightning strike twice for this duo, and Out of Time itself. Absolutely, this story is hellishly good. It's a real pacey adventure, very evocative of the Tennant era. I can see this easily slotting into the 2009 specials perfectly. But what about the story itself? Well, the story itself, we start off with a tour in the Paris catacombs, a perfect location for a Cyberman story. Having underground full of bones, you think that the story would go down more of a body horror route with the Cybermen. Instead, David Llewellyn throws the story in a completely different direction, seeing the 5th Doctor taking a tour of the catacombs led by Joseph Delon, where the 5th Doctor stumbles across a time agent called Tina, who is investigating paradoxes what happened in 1809, causing time to ripple. When Tina realises who this cricketing gent is, we get a nice little callback to K9, which, Big Finish, if you're listening or watching, I would definitely love a 5th Doctor K9 story. That would be absolutely delightful. So we learn why the 5th Doctor is here, as he was heading to the 1851 in Paris. But something in the mid-19th century brought the 5th Doctor here with the paradoxes, so off the Doctor and Tina go to take the tour of the Empire of the Dead. Meanwhile, the 10th Doctor is also on his way to Paris. I know, it's quite a small universe, isn't it? But hopefully in 1922. Instead, he gets Paris, but in occupied France. So a little bit out there, Doctor, as he faces the Gestapo. And one thing to know about this story is how it's structured, how the 5th Doctor is exploring the catacombs, while that's all happening sort of concurrently with the 10th Doctor, which I really do like, as the 10th Doctor gets a sort of strange sense of deja vu as he sort of begins his own temporal investigation. So while he does all that, the 5th Doctor learns about the catacombs history, from it being sort of a quarry, with it then being filled with 6 million bones to protect the city walls, the dead protecting the living. But there's something odd with one of the skulls, so the 5th Doctor lets his curiosity get the better of him as he discovers a secret door. And who doesn't love a secret door? Well, the Doctor definitely loves a secret door as he ventures through with Tina, as it is revealed that the Cybermen are there, leading to some great action moments of Cybermen bursting through the walls, as the Doctor and Tina head to the vault to stop the Cybermen killing any of the little tall people who are in the tour, really. So the Doctor and Tina reach the vault, only to be trapped by the Cybermen, as this is the beginning of the Age of Steel. So is the 5th Doctor the one to blame for the person who's caused and started these paradoxes, as the Cybermen trap him in a status chamber? And what purpose will the 5th Doctor serve for the Cybermen? Now the 10th Doctor slowly starts to get little recollections of what happened, leading him to the vault, where he sets free the 5th Doctor, meaning we do get the classic multi-Doctor interaction. Now this dynamic feels very interesting, as the 5th Doctor has more of a seniority, more of authority than the 10th Doctor, which is kind of interesting since, the 5th Doctor's the younger Doctor, but there's sort of a mutual respect there, and there's a sort of a great playfulness between this dynamic, and they sort of enjoy each other's company, even though they shouldn't do, because time and causality and all that sort of stuff. But there's a little bit of friction there at the same time, and this story's an absolute joy to listen to both these Doctors, because we see how different they assess the situation, how they deal with it. Which I really like. The 10th Doctor's more dive into the action, where the 5th Doctor's like, no, we need to think about this before we dive in, which I really do like. So we see them both join forces and begin their own investigations, leading them to the Paris archive, as they wonder, where have the Cybermen gone, as we find out that the Cybermen have invaded Paris and are now patrolling the streets of Paris. So off they go to the Paris archive. Of course, this story being set in Paris, you're of course going to get some lovely references back to the City of Death. So we get a nice little reference to, oh, that's where we had ice cream with Romana, and sort of talking about the Fourth Doctor's reckless parking, you know, for him parking the TARDIS in the Louvre, which I really do like. So the Paris archive section is a particular highlight within this story for me, as you know, the 10th Doctor sees these tents and he's full of optimism that, you know, these people have survived, you know, the Cybermen invasion, only for that to be sort of snatched away from him as he realised that nobody survived the Cyber invasion, which is really quite a grim moment within the story. But this is where the story and the mystery really starts to deepen as the Doctor finds a story involving King Charles VI and the Silver Demon. And what has this mysterious golden orb got to do with it? The transit of Venus, and how does it all link back to the tour guide of Joseph? But that will all have to wait as they've been located by the Cybermen. So it is now a mad dash back to the TARDIS, leading to a fun moment about them talking about parking the TARDIS. But this is a fantastic action moment, you know, with Doctors dashing through a graveyard while the Cybermen shoot at them, which is just fantastic, and leading to a brilliant fanboy moment for the 10th Doctor as he ventures into the classic console room with him loving the roundels and all the buttons. Which I really do like. It's, you know, you can tell that David Tennant's just enjoying it because he's just being an inner fan within it, so I just love that section. So off both Doctors go to 1769, seeing the 10th Doctor's delight in co-piloting the TARDIS. So we explore why the transit of Venus is linked to the Cybermen, as we meet a younger Joseph who has been waiting 8 years for this moment, as we learn the tale of King Charles VI and the Silver Demon, and the origin of the Golden Orb and its purpose. So I love how it's presented within this story, how it's told through Joseph telling the story, but it's done, you know, as an actual flashback as well. So it's a really clever way of telling that little story. Now this is when the time gates begin to open as we learn why Joseph is connected to the Cybermen, as the Cybermen are on their way, causing the Doctor's plan to really get going as they start to travel back to 1761 to meet a young Joseph. And stop what the Cybermen did to him. So this is when we get some even more classic Cybermen moments, which this story is full of great Cybermen moments, especially when the Cybermen burst through a burning building. Just create some great imagery within your head, which I really do love about this. As both Doctors stop the Cyber Scout, I'm not going to say because it's quite a clever way of how they stopped it, leading to the story ending on a rather cheery note with the Doctor talking about that they really must stop meeting each other, but they had a lot of fun doing it. Now, where did the 10th Doctor park the TARDIS? Moving on to characters now, the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant. A superb job from David Tennant, bringing his joyful, full of energy Doctor to life, and with the classic name dropping to his gun-ho approach, diving headfirst into the situation. Good fun moments with the psychic paper, and of course, with his past self. But you do have the sort of fury of the Time Lord when he discovers what the Cybermen are up to. So you do really get a nice well balance of the 10th Doctor. You get that sort of fun Tigger-like Doctor, but also that inner fury as well. So this is a really nice balanced 10th Doctor story. 5th Doctor, played by Peter Davison, a fantastic performance, bringing his youthful Doctor's energy to life, with sort of the odd Saki line, to that sort of great authority, with that sort of logical approach instead of charging into a situation. He's very tactical, a great speech on emotion, and he's incredibly curious with a great sense of urgency. And it's wonderful having a Cyberman story of the 5th Doctor, as I feel like Peter Davison really does sell the horror of the Cybermen within this story. Joseph Dellon, played by Mark Gatiss, does a terrific job of bringing this tour guide to life with a slightly sinister edge to him, and some rather nice poetic moments, a very interesting character journey, and a very well realised supporting character, and definitely more than surface level with a hidden past. And I think that he's a great addition to this story, and Mark Gatiss does a wonderful job bringing this character to life. Tina, played by Shelley Conn, a great sort of time agent character, or Madam Grapefruit I should say. A joyous performance bringing this bossy time agent to life, who is very much the Doctor's companion within this, and a very much an upfront character, and just wants to tackle things head on, which is great, and is a wonderful addition to these very human Doctors, which just put these Doctors in some very interesting corners within this story. So I really do like the time agent character of Tina. So what are my overall thoughts on Out of Time 2? Well, Out of Time 2 continues to be a delight and event listening for Doctor Who fans. A perfect way to pass an hour and real high energy story zipping all over time. Fantastic action moments with the Cybermen. The story has great pace to it. It's as quick as the 10th Doctor's running, and that's saying something. And this story just totally fits the 10th Doctor's era perfectly. with the cover of the actual story feeling very much like a new series book, what you would get back in, you know, the David Tennant era. For me personally, the 10th Doctor releases are always special, as he is my childhood Doctor, so it's always wonderful to have more stories, you know, to make me feel like a 10-year-old again. It's just absolutely wonderful to have more new stories with my childhood Doctor. The Cybermen themselves are a wonderful addition, great to see them in more of a complex story than a bog standard invasion, with them playing the long game, with them being very calculative and sort of waiting in the shadows as the pieces of the puzzle all fit together. Now, one of the main reasons why many people are going to pick up this story is the multi-Doctor interaction, and you definitely do get that within this, and this is definitely quite an intriguing dynamic because it's not them all bickering, but these two Doctors have a mutual respect for each other, and they're very playful with each other, and they sort of bounce off each other brilliantly. So I think that's great. You know, they both have little jokes about each other. I'm sure that this story will put a smile on any fan. It's just a great way to pass an hour full of wonderful references, and it's just wonderful to have a, you know, full-length story with the 5th and 10th Doctor together, because Time Crash was brilliant, but this takes it on another level and I absolutely adore it. So what am I going to give Out of Time to The Gate of Hell? Well, I'm going to give it, you know what, I'm going to be generous because I really did enjoy it, so I'm going to give it a well-deserved 8.5 out of 10. I think that it still continues to be event listening for Big Finish. It's still that sort of summer blockbuster audio, I feel. It's just absolutely wonderful, and it's just a sheer delight to listen to. I really did enjoy Out of Time to The Gate of Hell. So that concludes this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, it really does help my channel out, and I'll see you next time for more Big Finish related content in the near future. So thank you very much for watching. Mustache and Allons-y.